Hi, thanks so much for joining us. This is Kelly, and this is episode 6. And you are joining myself and Heather, and we are going to have a real conversation about being enough. Really looking at, are you enough? And why are you not enough? Let's take it to the next level and get started.
So you and I had just been on our last episode together in talking about all these things that we can do to improve ourselves. And you had gotten this text during that time.
Talking about addiction.
We were talking about addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And you had gotten this text and you said, "Oh my gosh, you're never going to believe what I just read." And I thought it was so powerful. I said, immediately, that's going to be our next episode. So that's what we'd like to share with you guys tonight and be able to break it down and talk about it. So go for it. Read what she said.
I just had the most insane epiphany. I've been praying about my financial situation and why I'm continually in a hole. I'm in the kitchen unloading the dishwasher and cleaning the filter because isn't that what everybody does? And it hit me. I'm obsessed with having the most and best clothes, and my house being decorated is from years of being made fun of for my clothes and our house. Not that my house was bad. It just wasn't in the newer neighborhood and on trend. When I was a cheerleader, my mom wouldn't get me the same clothes or accessories as everyone else, and they'd make fun of me. She would only get me a few outfits, never name brand, and I'd get made fun of. And girl, it wasn't like she couldn't afford it. She had my dad's estate, and every penny she ever spent on us was pulled from that. So she had the money, she just wouldn't. She did, however, do it for my sister. So I've always had this ludicrous lack of self esteem that's been completely predicated by all of this and has always felt like I have to prove that I'm enough. Sweet cheese. The fact that it's taken me over 40 years and chronic financial distress to figure this out. Wow.
It's almost a mic drop.
Totally. There are so many little nuggets in here. She said, I mean, she even says in here, her sister got everything. Her mom would do everything for her sister, and she always felt like that she was not enough. So now she is proving to everybody that she is enough. And so she takes it to the limit.
How many of us are doing it? Oh my gosh. I bet you if we sat there and really got thinking, we all would have a story that this would be our mic drop story.
Always.
Every one of us.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is why you and I wanted to have this conversation, because I feel it's so important to be able to think about being enough. We had talked a little bit about what the definition of enough is. I'm going to read that. There was a couple that were pretty interesting. The first one was enough, as much or as many as required, as much or as many as required, or used to indicate that one is unwilling to tolerate something undesirable. I think that that's a verb. When you are as much as required, and you use that as a verb in your life, to be unwilling to put up with something that is undesirable forevermore.
Right. Right. So if you have been working on something over and over and over again, and let's say your boss continually says, no, then you've had enough. You have had enough. Or somebody wants you to always be perfect. Oh, and you can't be perfect. Nobody is perfect. And to be enough is your own definition. It is your own definition of being enough. How abundant are you? Are you sufficient at doing your job? Are you sufficient at being in a relationship? And I know that everybody out there is thinking, well, heck yeah, I'm sufficient. I know I am. I'm a great mom. I go to work, I pay the bills. Okay, that's awesome. But do you feel like you're enough?
I think there's a lot of us who don't believe that we are enough. Or we can think that we are, but other people tell us otherwise. And that is the key. Is we spend so much time looking at social media, listening to our boss in meetings, or allowing friends to tell us things. People will continually letting you know that you are not enough. To me, that's what I think about, because I want to walk out every day knowing that I'm enough. I like myself. I like who I am. But when I walk out that door, life has a way of beating me down day after day, of telling me that I'm not enough. So how do we deal with that?
Being enough. So basically, it goes right back to engage, release, connect. What I talked about in episode 2. And it's about engaging. How are you going to engage? How are you going to be enough for yourself? So it's not communicating with somebody else, it's communicating with yourself. How are you going to be enough? And what do you need to release in order to connect with yourself to be enough? What is it? And make a list. Make a list of everything that is in your way to make sure that you are vibrating very high and you are enough. Because you will know when you're enough, because your vibration will take you there.
When you just said that, I got this picture in my head of almost as if a wall was going up, like this protective shield was going up in front of me when I'm standing in front of somebody and hearing something that makes me not think of myself as being enough. Like this wall automatically repel everything off of it so that it doesn't get in. And that's right. That's what engage, release, and let go is for that. And how you're going to communicate after that is, what do we need to do at that moment to let go?
Right. In order to let go and to connect with yourself, to make sure that you know that you are enough and that you go out into the world as you are enough, write down everything that is blocking you, everything that you feel like is hitting that wall that's coming up. And really, it's about being silent. It's about going in and feeling it. What is going to put you into that space of being enough? And if it's repeating it 100 times a day, if it's high-fiving yourself, like Mel says, in the mirror and saying, I'm going to go out and have a great day and I am enough. I am enough. If you're driving to work and you're feeling like you're in a different space, just keep saying to yourself, I am enough. Maybe you've got people in your life that keep bringing you down. People will say something and they'll go, yeah, okay, yeah. No, you can't do that. I'm going to put you over here because you're incapable of doing this. Woo! That right there stops me in my tracks. And, it's happened to me. It's happened to me lately. It's happened to me years ago. It's happened to me in my job, in my personal life. And until I figured out how to really get into that space of knowing what is stopping me from being enough, I would keep myself down. I would keep myself back.
The way that we're taught, the way that we're brought up. And one of the things that this particular person had talked about is that it went back to her childhood. And I was reading in a book somewhere or listening to a podcast, because I do that all the time.
Mhm.
But they had talked about how we need to teach our children that they are enough, that no matter what mistakes they make in their growing up years, they are still enough. I can remember a time when I wanted, this is going to age me. Are you ready? I
I'm
remember the
ready.
time when I wanted a pair of Guess jeans,
Oh, yeah.
because that's what everybody wore. I was in high school. I was living in a richer part of the city and going to this high school, and we were not rich. And I wanted a pair of Guess jeans. And my mother looked at me one day. She says, "We can't afford those." And I was okay with that. I knew where we were. I mean, we were middle class. We weren't poor by any means. We didn't have extra. There was 5 kids of us.
Right.
However, that week, a few days later, whatever it was, my mom came home with this decorative t-shirt. I'll never forget it. That had these dazzled cats on it.
Right.
And I remember thinking in my head, wow, she could get that, which was probably close to the same amount of money. Maybe not. Probably close in my head, probably close to the same amount of money as those jeans would have been for me. And I remember feeling at that moment that it wasn't important enough to have them. Now, as an adult, there is no way I would think that. But in my 14, 15-year-old brain, that's how I saw that.
Right.
And I'm sure my mother would be like, "What? I'm so sorry. I would never have thought that you would ever feel that way." But I did feel that way. So when we look at the things that we're teaching our children, and the more that we can have them feel that they are enough and speak enough into their vocabulary, then when things like that happen, they can be talked about easier, or it probably wouldn't have meant so much to me at that time. But I think about this even with my own kids growing up, is I always wanted them to feel enough. And you know what? There were times that they did and times that they probably didn't. My daughter is now telling me as she's older. But I really think this is where it comes from. As this other example from this lady, she really struggled feeling not enough from the very get-go. Her sister got other things. And so it really played out in her adult life.
I can definitely give an example, and it brought me to tears when I was 15. My grandmother going and buying me an outfit from Dillard's because it would last longer than going to Ben Franklin's, and then standing me in front of a mirror and telling me, "You know what? You need to cut your hair. You can't see your eyes. You need to pull your hair back. You got to wear this. I think you need more than this outfit. You have to wear things that people are going to accept you for." And she came from a totally different era,
Right. Right.
totally
Granted.
different era,
Sure.
and devastation. Devastation. I
Mm.
was never enough for her, ever. And so I have carried that. I have carried that all my life. And I feel like that was stopping me 3 years ago from
Mm,
going live with my business and really putting myself out there because it was like, okay, are you going to be able to do this? Because you got to be enough to do this. And not really sure. And that was in my head.
right.
I've done a lot of work to get where I am. And I do peel the layers back, still peel the layers back. And as you peel them back and they make you feel better, there's always something underneath there that's underlying that says, okay, let's test you again. But it is
Right.
all in how you react. It's
Right.
all in how you react to it. Are you willing to stand up for yourself
Right.
and make sure that you are there for you,
Yeah.
nobody else?
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I think one of the benefits of growing older is we get to take that time to really think about those things. And to me, it's almost freeing. It's freeing to start to understand why I would have had those feelings. It's freeing also to recognize that, like, your grandmother grew up in a different era,
Mhm.
totally different era. And
Yes,
she was that way. She was probably just perpetuating that which she was taught as well. And so it's great to be able to be in this space where you can think about, am I enough to be successful? Am I enough to move on from a current position? Am I enough to be in a relationship? Oh my gosh, I was listening to a dating coach. I think they're fun. And it is amazing when you can listen to the people that are speaking about their dates and so forth. You can hear it. You can totally hear it of who thinks that they're enough and who thinks they're not. And literally, the people who are showing up with not having such a high self esteem or confidence within themselves,
right.
literally the date ends up going not so great and they get ghosted. And they sit there, I don't know why I was ghosted. I have no idea. Well, if you re-listen to the playback, you probably could see it, or at least I would hope you could see it. And this particular episode I was listening to, there was a dating coach, and she literally downright just said, I don't know what to do with this person. I was whispering in her ear and I couldn't believe what she was saying. And you know what? It all came back to you could hear it in her voice that she literally just didn't think enough of herself. And so really the guy had no hope in ever going out with her again
Right.
because she just didn't believe in herself enough.
Right.
And that's what we're here for,
Right.
honestly, is to
Right.
become enough, to really see our enoughness so that we can achieve our dreams and our goals and our passions and the things that we really want to do.
Right. And moving forward from our position, from those
Mm.
things that don't serve us.
Yes, unwilling to tolerate something
Yes.
that is undesirable. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, if we just, every one of us, just one thing this week, list
One
that
thing.
one thing that you
Yep.
are unwilling to tolerate anymore because it is undesirable. And what would you need to let go of to allow that to happen?
Let's really make sure that we engage with ourselves. Have you really thought about what you're doing to be enough every day? Every day. I will say that I have been writing on Post-it notes lately. Ugh, I know. Post-it notes.
I
But
love
I
post-it
have been
notes.
popping them up. I know. Great invention. Great invention. And I've been sticking them on my computer at work. And I just looked at them and not realizing what I had been putting up there. And I took a picture and I sent it to Heather and I was like, oh my gosh, look what I did. And it's all about my goals. It's about being abundant and being enough and really looking at going into my work like they're paying me $1 million to come into work.
Mm.
They're paying me $1 million and I'm going to work like they're paying me $1 million. And it has changed the way I operate and the way I work. And I've been a little shocked because I really didn't think that that would happen. I mean, it was instantaneous. I feel better and I feel like I'm enough at work now. It's given me clarity. It's given me some clarity to my everyday, living life to the fullest, illuminating word, illuminating every step of the way. And when you feel like you're enough, your vibration just explodes. And go out and write down the one thing this week that's going to make you enough. We've given you so much today to think about and ponder and go out and do. So just remember that you are enough. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, have an amazing day.